Ladies and gentlemen, we all want success. We all want the life that makes us feel proud, powerful, and fulfilled. But let's be honest, wanting it is easy. Working for it, that's a different game. Success doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most relentless. It doesn't knock on your door while you're waiting for the perfect moment. It shows up when you're exhausted, when you're doubting yourself, and when no one is watching, and it asks, how bad do you really want this? Look, pain is part of the process. Failure is a part of the process. People doubting you, life pushing you down, your own mind screaming at you to quit. That's the process. And guess what? That's where most people stop. But not you. Discomfort is not the enemy. In fact, it's one of the most honest and powerful teachers life will ever give you. In a world that constantly pushes comfort, convenience, and ease, choosing to lean into discomfort might seem insane. But here's the truth. If you want to grow, really grow, you have to get uncomfortable. No one ever became extraordinary by playing it safe. No one ever broke records, built empires, or transformed their life by staying in the warm, predictable space of comfort. Look around you. Look at anyone you admire. Athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, leaders, they all have one thing in common. They learn to befriend discomfort. Not just tolerate it, but seek it. They didn't wake up one day and find greatness waiting for them on a silver platter. They fought for it. They bled for it. They trained for it, physically, mentally, and emotionally, when it was the last thing they wanted to do. They became who they are because they did the hard stuff, when it didn't feel good, when it hurt, when it was cold, when they were tired, and when there was no applause, no cheering, and no recognition. That's what built them. We live in a society that glorifies ease. Instant gratification is the currency of the day. We want results now, without the work. But that's not how success is earned. That's not how champions are made. The road to success is uncomfortable, by design. It's supposed to break the weak parts of you so the stronger version can emerge. And that means willingly stepping into situations that test you, stretch you, and yes, sometimes even break you. But those moments, that's where transformation happens. That's where you stop being average and start becoming elite. Most people run from discomfort. The second things get hard, they quit. The moment they feel resistance, they back off. They convince themselves that it's not worth it or that they're not ready. But here's the secret. You'll never be ready. You don't get ready first and then face challenges. You face challenges, and that's what makes you ready. Discomfort is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're growing. Think about the gym. You don't get stronger lifting light weights. You grow by adding resistance. And sometimes that resistance hurts. Your muscles shake, your heart races, your body wants to stop, but you push anyway. That's what builds strength. Life works the same way. Every hard conversation, every early morning, every disciplined choice, every no to distractions and temptations, that's a rep. That's how you build your mental and emotional muscles. And here's the beautiful part. The more you lean into discomfort, the more you realize it doesn't own you. It's just a feeling. It's temporary. You don't die from being uncomfortable. You evolve. You get sharper. You develop clarity. You learn to focus under pressure, and suddenly the things that used to scare you start to feel like home. You stop fearing hard things. You start craving them. Discomfort becomes your edge. While everyone else is looking for shortcuts, you're looking for the long road, the one with the hills, the storms, the uncertainty, because you know that's where the gold is. That's where character is forged. That's where confidence is earned, not by empty affirmations, but by action, real, messy, uncomfortable action. So if you're feeling resistance, if things are hard right now, good. That means you're on the right path. That means you're doing something that matters. Keep going. Lean in. Stay there. Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Let it sharpen you. Let it refine you. Because when the world tries to stop you, and it will, your strength won't come from comfort. It'll come from every single moment you chose to stay in the fight, to push when quitting felt easier, to sweat when others rested, to suffer when others complain. That's the fire you build inside yourself, and no one can take that from you. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you will ever own, and it can either be your greatest ally or your most destructive enemy. Success in life isn't just about talent, resources, or opportunities. Those things matter, sure. But the real game, it's played in your head. Every battle you'll face, every challenge you encounter, every goal you chase will be won or lost in your mind before it ever plays out in real life. People think they fail because they're not good enough, not smart enough, or not lucky enough. But more often than not, it's because they let their own thoughts defeat them before they even got started. You see, the mind is a master manipulator. It knows your fears, it knows your insecurities, and when things get hard, when it's 5 a.m. and your bed is warm, when your muscles ache, when success feels far away, it will whisper every excuse in the book. It will tell you you've done enough, that you don't need to go harder, that you'll never make it anyway, that you're wasting your time. But here's what separates the relentless from the average. They don't listen to that voice, or better yet, they learn how to talk back to it. They train themselves to override the doubt. They rewire their thinking through repetition, discipline, and conscious effort. They don't wait to feel like it. They decide and then they act, even when they're scared, even when they're tired, even when their mind is screaming at them to quit. Mastering your mind is not about having perfect thoughts. It's about having dominant thoughts, the kind that serve your goals, not sabotage them. It's about building an inner voice that pushes you instead of paralyzing you. That voice is not born, it's built through challenge, through failure, through discipline. Every time you do something hard, something you didn't think you could do, you teach your mind what you're capable of. You build a new default setting. You raise your baseline, and slowly your mind stops being the enemy and starts becoming your weapon. But here's the thing. It takes work. You have to show up for your mind like you would for the gym. Daily, repeatedly, consistently. You have to feed it the right things: books, challenges, experiences, silence, reflection. You have to pay attention to your self-talk, because the words you repeat to yourself become your reality. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, you'll live like it. But if you remind yourself that you're a warrior, that you're relentless, that you can figure it out, then eventually your mind will believe it, and your actions will follow. Most people live life as prisoners of their own thoughts. They get stuck in loops of fear, regret, comparison, and doubt. They wait for the right time, the right feeling, the perfect plan. But life doesn't wait for anyone. If you want to break free, you have to take control. You have to stop reacting to your mind and start commanding it. And make no mistake, it's not a one-time decision. It's a war you fight every day. But it's worth it, because once you learn to master your mind, everything else becomes possible. You become unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger, more focused, more resilient. You stop wasting energy on things you can't control. You stop second-guessing every step. You stop needing permission to go after what you want. You become the kind of person who gets things done, who finishes what they start, who sets a standard and lives by it, no matter how they feel. That's power. That's freedom. That's mastery. So the next time your mind tells you to quit, to back down, to play it safe, don't listen. Smile, because that's your cue to go harder. That's your signal that you're doing something that matters. Talk back to that voice with action. Show it who's in control. And remember, your mind is not the boss. You are. Master your mind and you master your life. Success doesn't belong to the people who do great things once in a while. It belongs to the people who show up, day in and day out, regardless of how they feel. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't always get recognized. But it's the foundation of every single great achievement in life. It's the quiet force behind champions, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, anyone who has ever done something that mattered. Too often, people wait for motivation to strike before they act. They think they need to feel ready, to feel inspired, to feel energized. But that's a trap. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. If you rely on it, your progress will be as unstable as your mood. One good day, two bad days, one hard push, then a week of excuses. That's not how greatness is built. Consistency is what steps in when motivation walks out. It's what carries you through the grind, through the boredom, through the doubt, through the days when everything feels heavy. It's doing the work when you're tired. It's showing up when no one is watching. It's choosing discipline over comfort, not once, but over and over and over again. Think about anything worthwhile: building a fit body, starting a business, learning a skill, improving your mindset. None of those things happen overnight. They happen through thousands of small, often unnoticed actions. One workout, one healthy meal, one focused hour of work, one uncomfortable decision to keep going. On their own, those things don't look like much, but over time they stack, they compound, they become unstoppable momentum. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's not about never missing a step or always getting it right. It's about commitment. It's about deciding that you're going to keep moving forward, no matter what, even if you mess up. Even if you fall off track, you get back up and you keep going. That's what separates winners from wishers. Not flawless execution, but relentless repetition. The truth is, most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're inconsistent. They start strong, but don't stay strong. They make a plan, hit one roadblock, and throw it all away. They let a bad day turn into a bad week, then a bad month, and suddenly the dream is gone. But not you. You're different. You understand that one bad moment doesn't define your journey. You know that progress isn't linear. It's a war of attrition. And if you stay in the game long enough, if you keep stacking small wins, the results will come. Consistency also builds confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you send a signal to your brain. I follow through. I do what I say I will. That's powerful. That's how you build trust in yourself. That's how you turn discipline into identity. Because at some point, it's not about forcing yourself to take action. It becomes who you are. You become the type of person who doesn't miss, who gets it done, who finishes what they start. There will be days when the excitement fades, when the progress is slow, when the results don't show up right away, and that's when most people quit. But if you can push through those moments, if you can keep showing up, you'll separate yourself from 99% of the world. Not because you're more talented, but because you're more committed. So don't look for magic hacks. Don't wait for motivation. Don't hope success will land in your lap. Put your head down and build something real. Day by day, brick by brick. It won't always be exciting. It won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. Because in the end, the people who win are not the ones who worked the hardest once. They're the ones who worked hard every time, especially when they didn't feel like it. They showed up again and again, and let consistency do what talent alone never could. The real work happens when no one is clapping for you. When the lights are off, the cameras are gone, and the world isn't paying attention. That's when it counts. That's when the foundation for greatness is built. Not on the stage, not in front of an audience, but in the quiet hours, when it's just you, your goals, and the decision to keep going. In this era of social media and instant recognition, it's easy to get caught up in appearances. People want to look successful more than they want to be successful. They want the results without the grind, the praise without the process, the spotlight without the shadows. But the truth is, the people who truly make it, the ones who rise to the top and stay there, are the ones who fall in love with the work that no one sees. It's not hard to be motivated when people are watching. It's easy to push yourself when you're being praised, when you're being noticed, when applause is ringing in your ears. But what about when no one cares? What about when no one notices your effort, your progress, or your sacrifices? That's where your character is revealed. That's where discipline is tested. That's where champions are made. Because success doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from the relentless repetition of small actions. the 5 a.m. runs, the late night study sessions, the quiet journaling, the self-reflection, the workouts, the practice, the planning, done over and over again without a single pat on the back. That's the work that builds you. That's the work that gives you an edge. Doing the work when no one's watching teaches you integrity. It forces you to hold yourself to a standard, regardless of who's around. It develops a kind of inner pride, a sense of self-respect that doesn't rely on validation from others. When you can show up consistently and give your best without needing someone to notice, you become unstoppable. Because then, your drive is no longer external, it's internal, it's part of who you are. And here's the secret: the ones who do the work in silence are the ones who shine the brightest when it's time to perform. They don't need to fake it. They don't need to hype themselves up. They've earned their confidence, brick by brick, in the hours no one saw. They're ready, not because they're lucky or gifted, but because they've prepared for the moment, over and over again, in solitude. There will be times when it feels like no one sees your effort. Times when you wonder if the sacrifice is worth it. Times when you feel invisible. But those are the moments that matter most. Because if you can keep working through that, if you can stay focused when you feel unseen, you're already miles ahead of the crowd. Most people quit when the recognition disappears. They stop when the compliments dry up. But not you. You're built differently. You understand that your future is shaped by what you do when no one is watching. You know that the process is sacred, that showing up consistently is a form of self-respect. You don't wait to be told what to do. You don't wait for permission to be great. You take control, you train, you plan, you execute. Quietly, powerfully, relentlessly. Because eventually, the world will see. Eventually, the results will speak so loudly that you won't have to. But by then, the spotlight won't even matter, because you've already proven it to yourself. And that's the real goal, becoming someone you can be proud of, regardless of who's watching. So keep grinding, keep pushing, keep showing up in silence. Let the work you do behind closed doors build the life you want in the open. Let your actions be so consistent, so powerful, that they leave a legacy without needing a stage to validate them. Everyone experiences pain. It's one of the few things that connects us all, no matter where we come from or what we've been through. But what separates people who rise from those who stay stuck isn't whether or not they faced pain, it's what they do with it. Some let it define them. Others let it drive them. Pain, when harnessed with purpose, can become the most powerful fuel in your life. Most people run from pain. They bury it, numb it, distract themselves from it. But what they don't realize is that pain isn't just there to break you, it's there to wake you up. It's there to remind you of what matters. It's there to show you what needs to change. Pain holds a kind of brutal honesty. It doesn't lie, it doesn't sugarcoat. It speaks in a language that's impossible to ignore. And if you're brave enough to face it head on, it will show you parts of yourself that comfort never could. The truth is, some of the most powerful people you'll ever meet are the ones who've been through the most. They've suffered. They've struggled. They've fallen. But they didn't stay down. They didn't let the pain swallow them whole. Instead, they turned it into something useful, something beautiful, something unbreakable. They used the hurt as a mirror. They used the losses as lessons, and they built themselves from the inside out, not in spite of their pain, but because of it. Pain is a signal. It's telling you, hey, pay attention. Whether it's physical pain, emotional heartbreak, failure, loss or rejection, it's there to sharpen you. It's there to challenge your strength and test your limits. You don't grow from everything going right. You grow from learning how to stand tall when everything's going wrong. And sometimes pain teaches you things nothing else can. It reveals your true priorities. It strips away your ego. It forces you to dig deep and ask yourself, who am I without the applause? Who am I when everything is hard? And if you're willing to answer those questions with honesty, you'll discover a version of yourself that you never knew existed. A version that doesn't break easily. A version that doesn't run. A version that fights, no matter what. Turning pain into power isn't about pretending everything is okay. It's not about ignoring your wounds or putting on a fake smile. It's about taking ownership of your story. It's about saying, this happened to me, but it won't define me. It will refine me. It's about channeling that energy into your goals, your growth, your purpose. Let your heartbreak teach you compassion. Let your losses sharpen your focus. Let your disappointments build your patience. Let your pain build your fire. Some of the greatest breakthroughs come right after the most brutal breakdowns. When you're on the floor, tired, defeated, questioning everything, that's when the real transformation begins. That's when you get to decide. Stay there, or rise. Hurt alone, or heal with purpose. Quit, or come back stronger. It's not easy, no one said it would be. But the person you become by walking through that fire will be the strongest, truest version of yourself. Your pain is a part of your story, but it is not the end of it. You get to decide what comes next. You get to choose how the story continues. Will you let your past be the anchor that holds you down, or the engine that drives you forward? Will you let your wounds stay open, or will you use them as battle scars that remind you what you've overcome? You are not weak because you've suffered. You are strong because you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still fighting. That alone makes you powerful. But now it's time to take that pain and own it. Use it. Turn it into something that lights your path instead of darkens it. Because when you turn pain into power, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get bolder. You get wiser. You get hungrier. And nothing, not fear, not failure, not even your past, can stop you from building the future you deserve. You weren't born to be average. You weren't meant to just get by. To coast through life, to blend in with the crowd. Deep down you know it. There's a fire inside you that's always been there, a voice whispering that you were made for more, and yet the world tries to convince you to settle, to shrink, to play small, to follow the script, take the safe path, and aim for good enough. But that's not who you are. Refusing to be average is not arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about recognizing your potential and making a decision not to waste it. It's about standing up and saying, I will not let fear, comfort, or excuses keep me from becoming who I was meant to be. Because average is easy. Average is everywhere. But greatness, that takes guts. It's easy to go along with what everyone else is doing. It's easy to clock in and clock out. To go through the motions, to avoid risks, and stay comfortable. That's what most people do. But if you're chasing greatness, if you're building a legacy, then comfort is the enemy. You have to be willing to do what most won't, so you can live a life that most never will. Choosing to be above average means taking full responsibility for your life. No blaming, no complaining, no waiting for someone to come save you. It means owning your choices, your time, your effort. It means showing up with purpose, not just when it's convenient, but every single day. And when things get hard, and they will, you don't back down. You don't quit. You double down. Being average doesn't require discipline. It doesn't require heart. It doesn't demand sacrifice. That demands everything. It asks for your time, your energy, your focus. It asks you to show up, even when you're tired. To keep going, even when you've failed. To believe in yourself when no one else does. It requires obsession. It requires hunger. It requires a relentless belief that you are capable of more, and a willingness to prove it. The world needs more people who refuse to be average. People who raise the bar. People who push boundaries. People who don't just talk about what they want, but put in the work to make it real. Because when you stop settling, you inspire others to rise. Your example becomes a spark. And before you know it, your refusal to accept mediocrity starts lighting fires in the hearts of others. Refusing to be average is a mindset. It's how you wake up. It's how you speak to yourself. It's how you treat your goals. It's saying no to shortcuts, to distractions, to anything that doesn't move you forward.
It's choosing growth over ease. It's refusing to waste another day, waiting, wishing, or wondering. There will always be voices telling you to slow down, to be realistic, to lower your expectations. Ignore them. They're speaking from their own limitations, not yours. Let them stay average. Let them play it safe. That's not your path. Your path is steep. Your path is uncomfortable. But it leads somewhere extraordinary. And when you fall, and you will fall, get back up. Every time. Because falling doesn't make you average. Quitting does. Being average isn't about failure. It's about acceptance. It's about saying, this is as far as I'll go. But that's not you. You don't stop at limits. You break through them. You don't just survive. You thrive. You build. You create. You lead. So the next time you feel the urge to take it easy, to blend in, to do just enough, remember who you are, remember what's at stake. And remind yourself that you didn't come this far to settle for average. You came to rise, to fight, to conquer. You came to set the standard, not meet it. Average is a choice, and so is excellence. So is greatness. So is legacy. Every day, in every moment, you get to decide. Will you follow the crowd? Or will you lead yourself? Life is not always going to be easy. In fact, it's often the opposite. Struggle is a natural part of the journey, and if you want to reach your full potential, you need to learn to embrace it, not avoid it. Struggle isn't the enemy. It's the teacher, the catalyst for growth, and the fire that forges your character. You will face challenges, big and small, and how you respond to them will determine the course of your life. The greatest successes come not from avoiding hardship, but from leaning into it, and growing stronger as a result. When we think of struggle, we often think of pain, discomfort, and suffering. And yes, struggle can come with those things. But what many people fail to realize is that struggle also comes with opportunity. Every challenge you face is an opportunity for growth. Every obstacle is an invitation to develop new skills, to build resilience, and to deepen your understanding of who you are. It's the struggles that test your limits and push you to become more than you thought possible. And if you can embrace them, truly embrace them, your potential becomes limitless. Most people avoid struggle at all costs. They run from difficult situations, they try to take shortcuts, and they look for the easy way out. The problem with that is in doing so, they miss the chance to build the inner strength that comes from overcoming adversity. They miss the lessons that only come through experience. It's like trying to become stronger without lifting weights. Without the resistance, there's no growth. Without the struggle, there's no transformation. Embracing struggle is not about looking for pain or hardship for its own sake. It's about understanding that you cannot grow without it. Struggles are a necessary part of success. Whether you're working on building a business, achieving personal goals, or mastering a skill, the path will always be filled with difficulties. You will face setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. The key is not to avoid them, but to learn how to face them, head on, with grit and determination. The beauty of struggle is that it reveals your true strength. It shows you what you're really made of. You might not see it at first, you might feel defeated, exhausted, or lost, but with each challenge you face and overcome, you develop a deeper sense of self-belief. You start to see just how capable you truly are. And when you start believing in your own ability to overcome anything, you unlock a power that's always been within you. But embracing struggle also means accepting that the journey will never be smooth. It's a ride full of bumps, twists, and turns. There will be days when you feel like giving up. There will be moments when you question whether it's all worth it. But those are the moments that define you. The choice you make during those times is what will separate you from the crowd. Will you quit when it gets tough, or will you dig deeper, push harder, and keep going? Those who succeed are not the ones who never experience struggle. They are the ones who choose to keep going despite it. They are the ones who understand that failure is not the end, but merely a stepping stone. Every struggle is part of the process, Every failure is a lesson in disguise. The key is not to be afraid of them, but to use them as fuel, to keep moving forward. One of the greatest misconceptions is that successful people have it easy. The truth is, they face the same struggles, if not more, than anyone else. They've just learned how to rise above them. They've learned to embrace the discomfort of growth, the uncertainty of the journey, and the challenges that come with pushing their limits. It's in that struggle that they've become who they are, and you can do the same. To embrace the struggle is to welcome the discomfort that comes with chasing your dreams. It's acknowledging that the road to success is not a straight line, it's a winding, sometimes bumpy path that tests your perseverance. But every challenge you face, every moment of struggle, brings you closer to who you're meant to be. It's through those struggles that you find your true strength, your resilience, and your ability to rise above any obstacle. So don't fear the struggle, don't shy away from the pain. Instead, embrace it. Know that it is a powerful force that will shape you into the person you are becoming. It is in those hard moments that you will find the growth you're seeking. And when you look back on your journey, you will realize that the struggles were not something to fear, but something to be grateful for, because they made you the person who could handle anything that came your way. Embrace the struggle, lean into it. Let it teach you. Let it mold you. And above all, let it drive you toward the life you are meant to live.